Professional Bowlers Tour. Lead-in show for ABC's Wide World of Sports.
You're right, Chris. Great action later on. Now Forkel, 7th frame, big shot. Trails by 21.
Okay. Now by 11.
If there's any slight edge the left-handers may have today, it's the angle of attack into the pocket. They can play that extreme outside line. I said earlier, I explained why the righties are playing the deep inside line, and you'll see that with Chris Warren and our tournament leader, Monicelli, defending champion. The lanes are simply so slick on the right-hand side that if you play out around the first arrow, the ball doesn't have time to break back to the pocket, hence the deep inside line to keep the ball in play. The lefties have a slight carrying edge. Let's see what happens. Well, there's a song out by Billy Idol called DOA, Dead on Arrival, and that's about what that ball was when it got to the 1-2 pocket. We were talking about perspiration on your fans and fingers. Ball just slipped off his hand, had good direction, but no drive, and he left the 5.
All that pressure can still smile. Speaking of pressure, I would think flying on an F-16 would be a little about 33 million bucks per copy.
And a lot of speed.
And in seeing those F-16s yesterday, Major Gene Kiefer was so helpful. Kansas Air National Guard, we thank him.
There's a shot by Hugh Miller that was out of the flight pattern right there, though, Chris. He got that ball wide. As I said, the high lubricity of these lanes, you cannot swing the ball wide. You have to be very accurate. He's left a difficult spare, the 1, 3, 6, 10. The key pin is carrying out the 10. Needs a little extra loft on the ball to make sure the 6 drives into the 10.
Okay. You know, for our season's finale, that's in 2 weeks, as the tour's best will roll into Oklahoma for the $200,000 Choice Hotels International Summer Classic. That's in 2 weeks on ABC's Wide World of Sports. And we go there without our regular producer, Carol Letty, who's headed for the Pan American Games in Cuba, as is Manny Cabral. And Larry Cam, our usual director, will be there, and so will today's director, Bruce Trite. So we wish him well down there. But as Carol Letty said earlier, 23rd of 24 this year, she enjoys working with the best in the business. Well, we return the compliment to all of those going to Cuba, because they are the best.
Agreed. And these are the best in the sport of bowling. Right now it's crunch time for Eric Forkel, Hugh Miller. 9th frame, less than 10 pins separate the 2 players.
Tough break, leaving the 7 pin on that shot.
Forkel doing what he really has to do. He's a little shaky in his first 3 frames and has been around the pockets 4 through the 9th frames, and that's the way you have to play match play competition. Ball doesn't have quite enough drive to knock out the 7, but he's still in the match. With a conversion here, he'd put himself in a position to throw 2 strikes in the 10th and take the lead. We haven't had a tie game in a while, Chris.
No, we haven't.
And if Forkel can throw a couple of strikes here and get a 9 count, he would finish at 204, and a spare strike for Miller would be a 204. So the scoreboard tells you that it is a very distinct possibility. Let's see what happens.
And you hear the pen fall when our 2 pros are not shooting. For real, it's Amleto Monicelli continuing to stay loose. He will meet the winner in the semifinal match. The standing room only crowd.
Eric Forkel, following his same profile that he had in his Seattle match game loss, where he bowled very well in the 220s, has kept every ball in the pocket from the 5th frame on. He needs a strike here to put the pressure on Hugh Miller.
Game is on right here in Wichita at the confluence of the big and little Arkansas rivers.
That's it. Arkansas when it's in Kansas, Arkansas when it flows by Little Rock. And right now for Eric Forkel, for the first time in the game, he can take the lead with a strike. If he gets 9, the match is theoretically tied. It'll be up to Hugh Miller.
This is great. This is competition at its finest. 205 for non-winner Gwendon.
Big shot here. If he strikes, he'll force Hugh Miller to strike. Good confidence builder. 3 strikes in the 10th frame. Now, Hugh Miller must strike on this ball, or it's all over. Not to be, Chris. 1-pin victory for Forkel. It's going to be Forkel and Monicelli in the semifinals.
Yes, we'll give you the final score after this, because we're going to join Bo with some reminders on caring for your bowling equipment. Here's Bo's tip.